Welcome to the Star Podcast.
Wow. Star Podcast.
Welcome to the Star Podcast, hosted by TPS Group of Companies. Each week, we share tips and stories from safety, trucking, and recruitment, and everything in between. Listen now. I was really excited when Will Gove, the General Manager with Kovatera, agreed to sit down and have a podcast recording with me. I was reading all about the company and their electric mining vehicles, and I thought this would be such a great episode. They focus a lot on safety, mining, so I thought it would be a perfect fit. Which is funny because once we got chatting and I was listening all about his career and all about Kovatera, we didn't even really get to talk a lot about their electric mining vehicles. So Will actually agreed to come back, do another episode, and we'll focus all about that because that aspect's really interesting to me. But for a quick glimpse into the company and into Will's career, have a listen right now. I just want to start off by thanking you for joining us today. I'm really excited to sit down and speak with you. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us. I think everyone's going to find this really interesting. So I was hoping that you could start off by introducing yourself and just sharing a little bit about how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Thanks, Leslie. Great to be here. So I'm Will. I'm the general manager for the company. And I think I'm really fortunate in terms of how I got to where I am personally. I've had a very fortunate career in underground mining, and I'll keep it short. But essentially, I started out as an apprentice millwright underground in Australia, working in the coal mining industry, actually. And from there, my career progressed where I ended up with a very large multinational company formerly called Atlas Copco. They're now called Epiroc. And I was very fortunate. I had a 20-year career, more or less, with Atlas Copco, which brought me into sales and marketing and senior management roles. So from there, I progressed into general managing. So that brings us to today, where I have been the general manager for Kovatera now for 5 years.
Cool. So you had a full career before you even came on with Kovatera.
That's correct. All of it, I would say, in mining, which is fantastic, and various aspects of the mining industry. Mining industry is a very broad term, but in my case, it's been primarily underground, and it's either been with equipment manufacturers such as Kovatera or Atlas Copco, but I also had a stint in contracting as well. In my case, underground contract drilling, exploration drilling. So I did that for 10 years as well. So I've been very fortunate to spend an illustrious career in the industry in various aspects of the mining industry.
Oh, you mentioned Kovatera. Can you just share a little bit more about Kovatera and what the company provides?
Sure. So Kovatera is in the utility mining equipment space, underground mining utility equipment. In broad terms, you could say that there's three types of equipment in underground hard rock mining. I say hard rock because soft rock differs a little bit. There's the production equipment, the equipment that actually does the mining. That's not Kovatera. There is the equipment that is large utility equipment, which is equipment that provides all the ancillary services in the mine. That's also not Kovatera. Then there's the smaller equipment, everything else in the mine that does small jobs, everything from changing light bulbs in the mine to installing electrical cable and moving people around in the mine. That's what Kovatera does. So our business is, our machines are purpose engineered for underground mining, whereas often our competitors are using regular on-highway vehicles that are converted for underground mining. We don't do that. Our machines are purpose engineered for underground mining. And we now market our machines in many different countries. through a dealership network that we have vetted and appointed over the years. And so we're expanding from a lively based company into international markets.
Yeah, very cool. I was on your website and I was just looking around a little bit. I didn't realize how big the company was. So you have locations worldwide, is that correct?
Yes, well, not owned by Kovatera, but certainly through an authorized dealer network.
Oh, okay.
You could say we have locations worldwide through our dealer network. Very similar, if you will, to a Caterpillar model, where Caterpillar is the manufacturer of record and they sell the machines through dealers. Kovatera is no different. We do all the manufacturing here in Lively, Ontario, and then the machines are sold and serviced through our dealer network. So we have offices worldwide that are not ours, they're our dealers. I believe right now we're in 10 countries outside of Canada because of this dealership network.
Oh, that's very cool. I love hearing stories about like local companies that have grown and they're this big company. So it's just really exciting to hear about local companies that are doing these big, exciting things. So that's amazing. Your website mentions that Kovatera engineers and manufactures the safest underground mining utility vehicle in its class. So can you share just a little bit more about the safety aspect and why that's so important?
Yeah, sure. Again, Leslie, it comes down to the fact that we are purpose engineered for underground mining. And I'll talk about three elements of the vehicles that we engineer, the reason why they're very safe. The first one is that our vehicles are standard, our personnel carriers are standard with what's referred to as a ROPS, FOPS certified cabin. ROPS simply means rollover protection. FOPS means falling object protection.
Okay.
So obviously, in a regular vehicle, if you have a pickup truck on highway or a car, those features aren't incorporated into an on-highway vehicle because they're not needed. In underground mining, there is the risk of falling rocks, falling objects overhead. So our canopies and cabins on our vehicles are ROPS, FOPS certified. So that's one reason why they're very safe. The second reason is our braking system. If anything on the vehicle fails hydraulically, or the diesel engine cuts out, or you experience other system failures electrically or hydraulically, the brakes are automatically going to come on. This is referred to as a spring-applied, hydraulically released braking system, which means if we lose the hydraulics, the springs take over and apply the brakes. So that's the second reason why our vehicles would be very safe. The third would be similarly to the ROPS FOPS, the floor of the cab is designed with impenetrable steel. The reason this is important because there has been fatalities in the mining industry where an operator of a vehicle has driven over a sharp object like a rock bolt that's been left on the ground, which is something used to support the roof, and that rock bolt has been kicked up and penetrated through the floor and into the operator. So our vehicle has quite a thick piece of plate on the bottom of the cab to mitigate the risk of that occurring. So those are three reasons why, three of many really, why a Kovatera engineered vehicle would be safer than a regular vehicle that you buy off the street to try and put underground.
So it sounds like a lot of care and thought has been put into the design and the manufacturing of all these vehicles.
Absolutely. And that's part of Kovatera's DNA, if you will, and within our engineering team, we have to be close to the customers and close to the applications. You really have to understand what is it that these customers are doing with the vehicles and how unique is the environment that they're operating in versus say an on-highway vehicle, which is designed to do a certain task. So it's very important that our engineering team understands what it is the customer is doing with the vehicle, and we engineer accordingly to mitigate the risks, both from a safety perspective and an overall operation perspective. So you're right. There's a lot of thought goes into these vehicles and a lot of learning. I mean, we're a company that's now 20 odd years old. And so some of these vehicles have been in development during that time. We're constantly improving. You certainly don't get it right the first time. There's a lot of continuous improvement and a lot of tweaks that happen over the years to improve the performance of the vehicle and the reliability of the vehicle. The interesting thing about engineering mining vehicles is they say that the mining environment is probably one of the toughest environments on the planet that you can put a vehicle through.
Really?
Followed, interestingly, followed by probably military applications, vehicles that have to operate in the desert and very hot, sandy applications, followed by agriculture, tractors and so forth. But underground mining is particularly tough on vehicles. Think about the vehicle is in constant four-wheel drive. The roads are not often maintained.
Right.
The maintenance can be substandard. Mines are struggling with qualified technicians and so forth. So often the maintenance, they struggle with maintenance. Customers struggle with maintenance, and also the vehicles are driven by different people on different shifts. So there isn't that duty of care factor like there is in yours and my personal vehicle, where we take it and get it serviced and we wash it and we take care of it. So all of these things need to be taken into consideration when you're engineering a vehicle for underground mining as well. Not just the safety, but the overall total cost of ownership of the machine is what you're trying to provide. That's where you're trying to provide value to the customer is, can you build a machine that not only lasts and operates but can you do so cost effectively over its economic life? And in our case, that's about 10 years. Regular on highway vehicles, when used in mining, last about 3 years. So, yeah. So a Kovatera is roughly 3 times the economic life of an on-highway vehicle. Accordingly, it's quite a bit more expensive to buy, but the customer gets that value over a time frame.
Right. I didn't even think of that. So it's all about the safety, but also like the functionality, and then also being tough and being able to last with all the different drivers and the different terrain and things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, if you take a Ford F-150 pickup truck, for example, and use it underground, it'll last about 12 months, maybe 2 years if you're lucky. Whereas a Kovatera engineered pickup truck, like I said, between 10 years and counting. We've got vehicles in the Sudbury Basin that are well over 10 years old and still running today. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, I find this very, very interesting. So I'm glad that you could come on and just explain a little bit more about the company and about your vehicles. I'm sure we could talk for a lot longer about different things. But if someone wanted to find out more about you, find out about Kovatera, where's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of sources there. There's firstly our website, which is covatera.com. But if anybody that beyond the website, it's really easy to reach out to our global sales and marketing manager, a gentleman by the name of Don King. So his email is dking@covatera.com. If you wanted a more personal response. So yeah, that's we're pretty easy to get hold of, I think.
Perfect. Are you on LinkedIn as well?
Yes, we're on LinkedIn.
Okay.
As a company, Kovatera has a LinkedIn profile, and myself and Don and the management team have LinkedIn profiles. So easy to get in touch with via LinkedIn as well.
Very good. Well, I'll put links to your website and to the LinkedIn and everything so that if anyone's looking for more information, wants to find out more about your vehicles and your company, then they can easily do so. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us. I think this was really interesting, and I appreciate all the information.
Thanks very much, Leslie. It was a pleasure, and you take care, and hopefully we do this again sometime.
Sure.
Star Podcast.
Wow. Star Podcast.